Hey guys, Snowman here with you again. For my first pagan project since deciding that that's what this channel is going to be about. Yeah, I know I showed you guys the weird little router table for the Dremel last time, but that's where I'm at. If I can't afford the tool, I have to make the tool. So there you go. Now, I've done wands, I've done mortar and pestle sets, rune sets, all sorts of other magical tools, but the one thing I have not yet made, I've wanted to, is a wood Athame ceremonial dagger. Now, the reason I'm making it out of wood, not trying to go with a metal blade or anything like that, is the blade does not physically need to cut anything. So, I figured I'd make a nice ornate blade. I have the blade's shape, and the inner line is for the bevel of the blade, and of course I'm going to be doing that on the bevel on both sides. So I'm starting out with the, I want to say a little over 1/4 inch thick strip of black walnut, and I'm going to be using several woods in this project because I have the scraps around and I think it'll be interesting. Now the handguard I've already started working on. It's this piece of bloodwood. I've already shaped one side of it and the ends, and I'm going to put this shape on the other side. Now I'm doing it by hand with a Dremel to get all these bevels in, so getting the sides to match is, as I drop the piece on the floor, it's a little bit of a challenge, but if I slow down and take my time, it'll work. So this gives you an idea of what the handguard's going to look like. And for the handle scales, I'm going to be doing a combination of pine and this naturally stained black poplar that I found a while back. And it's going to be a serpentine shape for the black poplar, and then the pine is going to, I have them clamped together now, but I'm just doing that so that I can trace these curves into the pine so that I can bring them up and glue them to make the sides of the handle actually somewhat straight. So, without further ado, let me get on the scroll saw and cut out the blade shape. Now I'm going to be refining this shape on a drum sander and be using a Dremel to carve in the bevel. So leaving the tip blunted like this will be fine because all the sanding is going to sharpen that up. Now I've had to get somewhat creative with the dust collection in my shop because it is just, like I keep telling people, a small office. So things like putting a shop vac on the workbench and then routing the hose through a bracket to the sander, it has to be done. That way I'm not spreading sawdust all over the place and breathing it. Helps to plug in the freaking vacuum. These are not sanded to shape yet, obviously, as you can see the pencil lines, but at least see what I'm starting to go for the handle scales. Once I turn this into a solid block, then I'm going to split it down the middle, and then I'll have my scales for both sides. Yeah, this is an overkill amount of glue, but this is going to be the handle of the blade, so kind of want it to hold together, you know? And I forgot to get the other clamp out. A little bit of squeeze out, that's good. That means I actually used enough. And I have any other clamps I can use, because that doesn't seem like enough. There. And we let that dry. Just realized something. You're trying to make a mark on black wood with a pencil. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm starting to realize just how difficult it is to work and look through a camera at the same time. Alright, so obviously there's going to be a lot of shaping, gluing. I'm going to be running 2 oak dowels through it to pin it, and I'm going to be using some good wood glue to glue everything together. I toyed with the idea of using epoxy, but I'm not trying to glue wood to metal. I'm gluing wood to wood, so yeah, wood glue. But these 2 big curves here and here are probably going to go away for the sake of the shape of the handle, because still need to do a lot of sizing work and go from there, because I need to make the blanks fit the size of the tank. I need to obviously radius them so that they feel good in the hand, and yeah, go from there. You know, things have gotten serious when you have to bust out the Franken grinder. I have seen so many YouTube woodworkers that have complained, you're not going to collect any dust from the half-inch dust port on the disc sander of this Central Machinery sander. Okay, so you either are using a dust buster for your vacuum for your dust recovery, or you just didn't bother to try, because I have a little shop vac tube. Let's see, what is it? It is a 2.5 horse little shop vac on a 1/2 inch braided hose and on a large vacuum hose into the port that's underneath the belt. So I'm doing just fine collecting dust. I don't know what you guys are having a problem with. Okay, going to be working on the handle scales again. I have a little bit of corduroy, as you can see, to sand off from the bandsaw out in the garage. That, and I decided I'm on my third different hand guard for this Athame, so we'll see what happens. Now, when I mentioned earlier about this black poplar being naturally stained, meaning that's the color of the board when I bought it over at Lowe's. I have not added any stain to it, natural or otherwise. That the wood was already this color, so that means it was stained in nature solid black. But what I'm finding out as I'm sanding it is these beautiful other lines and grain patterns are coming out of it now that it's not just the rough hewn saw cut. So we're getting there, folks. The only problem with working with black poplar is it leaves gray sawdust everywhere, and if you have light colored woods, it's gonna get into it. Alright guys, so I'm gonna call this part 1 and call it here. I have my parts made, everything except for the dowels. I still need to carve the bevels into the blade, but I'm trying to decide whether I want to do that before or after the handle. Probably before, so I don't mark these up once I have them made. So I'm going to glue these pieces on overnight and work on part 2 of the video tomorrow. Alright guys, as always, more to come.